The Glenn Beck Radio Show has been suspended from SiriusXM Radio over a recent incident. Now, it's not suspended on, other forums, as far as I understand. And remember, he does have his own The Blaze TV network. So these things are separate. They do have their own financial troubles on their own, by the way. But he has been kicked off of XM Radio, or at least suspended, for a certain period of time here. And Mediaite reports and explains why. Quote, in a statement released Tuesday, SiriusXM announced they are suspending the Glenn Beck program from its lineup after a guest made comments that many interpreted to be supportive of the assassination of Donald Trump. Conservative author Brad Thor made comments last Wednesday saying that Trump opponents may be forced to resort to extra-legal means. Here's what the guy said, quote, this is serious and this could bring down incredible heat on me because I'm about to suggest something very bad. It is a hypothetical I'm going to ask as a thriller writer. If Congress won't remove him from office, what patriot will step up and do that if he oversteps his mandate as president? SiriusXM evidently agreed with Thor's critics, interpreting comments as an endorsement of assassination. SiriusXM also hinted that the Glenn Beck program could see the chopping block over the comments, saying they were evaluating its place in our lineup going forward. Okay, so now I've gone over this a million times. There was a really detailed Politico story that spoke about his financial troubles. For those of you who don't know, he takes money from various right-wing think tanks, and he's basically a welfare queen to those right-wing think tanks. So they prop him up by giving him money, and then it was supposed to be the case that he would also take in a lot of money through advertising revenue. Problem is, nobody wants to advertise with him. So if you watch his network, all you'll see in the breaks is customized rifles and end times fucking food packages and shit like that. Real low brow advertisers who don't pay much. And it's just not enough to keep the business afloat. There's been layoffs there recently. Glenn Beck himself has made comments going back a year or two talking about how I don't want to be in politics forever. I want to do other stuff. So there's so many signs that this thing is going to collapse. And in fact, I've predicted in the past it will collapse. And I'll predict again today. At some point, it's going to fucking implode. Because a lot of the stuff that they say, their numbers just aren't real. When they talk about, we have a membership program that has X amount of people, the numbers are made up. They're made up. They claim it's kind of like the Donald Trump trick. I am worth this much money. And people look at it, actually, you're not worth anywhere near that much money. But because you portrayed that you were so powerful and worth so much, for a while you coasted off that, and you were able to get more money from people, like the right-wing think tanks, and you were able to coast off that name recognition and that facade of being successful. It's imploding now. Glenn Beck Show is imploding now. So XM dropping him for this, and I'm actually going to throw a curveball at you now. Now, I do think Glenn Beck will implode, his whole The Blaze, outlet here. And I'm not going to be sad on that day. Not at all. But I'm actually going to defend him in the SiriusXM case. Because he didn't say it, number one. Number two, I don't even necessarily agree that that's exactly what they're getting at here. I think there's a lot of reading between the lines. So, to me, I get it. If it's a literal direct threat of violence, yeah, okay, pull him. No issue with that whatsoever. Nobody should do any direct threats of violence. But what he said was, and I'll read it again for you. This is what the guy said that led to them being suspended. This is serious, and this could bring down incredible heat on me because I'm about to suggest something very bad. It is a hypothetical I'm going to ask as a thriller writer. If Congress won't remove him from office, what patriot will step up and do that if he oversteps his mandate as president? One interpretation of that is, maybe shoot him, maybe, but even he said hypothetical and I'm a thriller writer, but he didn't even say anything about that. Perhaps they just mean take, whatever. Kidnap him, take him out of office, lock him up, give him a trial. Who knows? I don't know. But it's certainly not clear-cut that he meant kill him. So I actually don't agree with suspending him from XM. I know a lot of people are going to think that's crazy, but I don't. It's like if I invited somebody on and they said something a little goofy and maybe I didn't interpret it right on air, and then somebody tries to give me the axe because somebody said, not you, but somebody you had on said something that may or may not be interpreted in this way. We're going to let go of you. But that leads to the final point on this. Maybe, just maybe, SiriusXM was looking for an excuse. They were looking to cut Glenn Beck because maybe they know more than I do about the Blaze's financial troubles behind the scenes. Maybe they just didn't like them. Maybe they were getting shitty ratings. I'm sure they were getting shitty ratings. And there's 1,000,001 problems. So on the merits of this, I'll actually defend him because I think that they're being too sensitive here, if you will. But in terms of the business angle of it, well, if it's just a business decision from SiriusXM, and they're like, they get no ratings and they suck anyway and we don't like them, well, then that is their choice and they can do whatever they want. So this is the first step in the direction of implosion, and believe me, in due time, more will come. The blaze is going to be a wrap, and it's going to be a wrap maybe even sooner than many of you think.